Hey, what's up, everybody? We got some red today, right? You look at the market, we got a bunch of red in here. Not too bad, though. We need these days in order to continue higher. Market's cooling off a little bit, not too bad. So let's take a look here. So obviously, we're looking at XRP. Just zoom out real quick, just look at where we're at. We're sort of testing this upper resistance line. So it makes sense that we're kind of pausing out in here. I mean, this is the top of this here, the bottom of that. You got all of this in here. So it makes sense, right? We could start flagging out in here. We can have, or if it's going to be worse than that, it could be 3 up and then we get 3 down and then start our ascent. But that's that's not my favorite idea because it just probably would be too big for that. But yeah, let's take a look at the smaller time frames. We can see that we have 5 waves in here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4, and then 5, right? So if this is a wave 1, all right, or if this is wave 1 of 3 or a 1, 2, 1, 2, then we look at this over here, and let me zoom in a little bit more. I believe we talked about this yesterday being either some kind of flat or an ABC. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an A, and then we climb up. There's your B right there. So maybe we're going to be coming down for a little while over the next day and a half or so, or maybe just over the next several hours, until the daily candle closes. So then we have an A, B, C. I believe this is the count we were talking about yesterday. This looks corrective to me, right? And plus you have 5 waves down and not 3. So if you have 5 down and it's corrective on the way up, it's most likely going to be, you're going to get a C wave. So how big is that C wave? Well, since the B wave came up more than 90%, the C wave doesn't have to break the low like an A, B, C breaking the low, right? It could be for example, a running flat in here. So it's a running flat, or you can have a regular flat, or you can have an expanded flat. Now, how do you know which ones are going to be? Well, you just have to count the waves. And so far, I don't see 5 waves. I mean, you kind of do. You can kind of say, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have to be cautious because that could be just 1, right? And this could be 2. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and then 4, and then, So, obviously, if we start taking out this high, if we start breaking back above 262, 261, 262, and we stay up there, I think then you can probably assume that running flat is complete. So yeah, let's zoom out again. So on the 4-hour chart, do we have any 9s? Well, before I look at that, one thing we do have is a break back above the bull market support band. So this is something we haven't talked about yet. So we're finally back above the bull market support band. Let's go up to the daily here. You could see back over here, right? We had this gorgeous wave 1 and then a wave 2, right? We were flagging out and we came below the bull market support band, right? And that's when it really started initiating to the upside. That's exactly what happened over here. The same amount of time, the same type of structure, and, we broke below the bull market support band momentarily, but then it was quickly recovered, and now we're back above the bull market support band. We are back above the bull market support band. So what you kind of want to happen here, well, you see over here, you see how how tight it was, right? It was very, 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 very tight before it exploded. The issue here is that the band is very, it's spread out, right? It's very spread out. So we want this to continue up, and we want this to kind of continue up too, but it's kind of going to get a little bit flatter here. And then, you know, if, for example, we have to come back down and flag out and retest the bull market support band, or maybe we get a little bit higher of a push and then kind of flag out into the bull market support band, causing it to get tighter, and then test, and then go. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here in relation to the bull market support band. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, you can see we've clearly broken above it. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be A, B, and then let's get a C, and maybe that C wave comes all the way back down to the bull market support band. But yeah, let's see. Do we have 9s here? All right, so we're looking at the 4 hour. We had a 9 buy, and we activated it, and then we came all the way up. We had a 9 sell, which called the top of that wave, and then we had an ABC, but we don't really have any 9s in here. So let's go up to the 6 hour. Really nothing there. 8 hour, nothing there. It's too choppy to get 9s. So the 12 hour, you got a 7, but it's a little bit, I mean, you can get, like, for example, an 8 and then an 8 and then a 9. The daily we're only on a 7. So technically you have 8, 9. You got 2 to 3 days left of a potential bullish continuation for the daily sequential. So doesn't necessarily mean anything. You know, the daily sequential hasn't been that accurate going back in XRP, more so than other time frames. So you got the 2-day chart. You're on a 4, nothing. So you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're doing pretty good. I like this time frame because the 2-day chart really lines up with this 9 here on the buy side, right? So we had a 9 right here, and you can see it printed all of these red dots, and those red dots have been resistance to the price, right? So you don't need the red dots to tell you that this is a resistance line here, and that's exactly where we're at. So since we're in between the bull market support band and the resistance line, it makes sense that we kind of consolidate in here for a little bit, maybe pull back, whatever, before then continuing higher. Because ultimately that's the idea, is for this thing to continue higher, because we don't have 5 waves yet. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if we get 5. So not too much more on XRP, but let's switch gears here. Bitcoin is on a 5. Well, let's go to the daily. So we don't have anything on the daily for Bitcoin. That's good. But yeah, we're kind of stuck in here, right? We're stuck in here. So it's anybody's guess that, are we going to flag out and continue? Or when we look at the bull market support band, you can see it starting to rise. It could be possible that we flag out into the bull market support band, because we haven't had a proper test. You can see we had bullish divergence down here. We had a 3-wave correction. We had 5 waves in here, right? And bullish divergence, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move back to the top here. And basically Bitcoin took, in a matter of what was that? Basically 30 days, right? It took 30 days for us to get from down here to up here versus taking almost 90 days to get. So basically it took 1/3, a little more than 1/3 of the time to take it all back, which is a very bullish sign, right? Versus if we were doing the opposite and it was correcting and correcting up, like this was correcting down, and then we shoot up versus shooting down, right? That would be very bearish. So the fact that we're accelerating a lot faster to the upside than we are to the downside suggests that this obviously is correcting and pulsing. So the trend is your friend, right? The bull market support band is like kind of like your right-hand man, you know, like something somebody you have to lean on, right? So yeah, to me, right, what would be more bullish? Let's take the sequential off. Going up from here and then fizzling out, right? Or having a pullback into, let's do this right there, right? So if we had a pullback into that bull market support band, to me that would be more bullish because it would reset the price, it would reset the momentum, reset the oscillators, backtest the bull market support band, and then also retest this area over here, right? It would retest that area over there before then hopefully continuing higher. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Now, do we do that now or do we pop up a little bit higher and then do it? It's a tough one to say because when you zoom in, you can see obviously like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we just look at this wave, you can say 1, 2. This could be 3, 4, and 5. Could be. Or this could be 1, 2, 3, and then ABC 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or yeah, it's kind of overlapping. So maybe a diag or a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and then start flagging out. But yeah, so or we could see this, 3 down, and then you get 3 up, and then you get 3 down or 5 down. You know what I mean? Kind of another little flag before coming up, and then you get the bigger one that meets up later with the bull market support band. So it's kind of it's a tough one to say because you're kind of right in the middle. Anything can happen here. I mean, you're right smack in the fib levels, but you've gotten through them, right? You're in between. You've broken above the 702. That's one of the most important. 786. You got through that as well. So you really only have the 886. That's your last fib level. So when someone says, "Oh yeah, we broke through all the fib levels," no, we didn't. We still have one more to go. The 886. Nobody really even has the 886. And I don't know why, because it's been very accurate for me. So let's see how this plays. Let's see how this plays out. So that's Bitcoin. All right, what else is going on here? Monero is still kind of just chilling up here. Look at that. It's just like flat. It built a little base. It feels like it wants to continue. Let's see if that is. I haven't jumped back in yet. I just don't really like this wick here. It just seems like it's coming back up to retest the wick. But when you zoom out, it looks insanely bullish. I mean, this thing looks insanely bullish. I mean, to me, it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you have another 1, 2. This could be just ready to go. I mean, it's a serious thing. Or if this is a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have an ABC, that's a 1, that's a 2, it doesn't matter. You're still in that third wave ready to go, right? So you really have, Monero is very close to price discovery, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, don't want to sleep on this coin. So, yeah, that's Monero. But zooming in again, you know, you're kind of just stuck up there. Not really much to say. I don't know if I would buy it here. It's a tricky one. I'm a trader. I get in and out. But if a hodler, I would continue to hold. Continue to hold here. If this is like 1, 2, and then it kind of starts coming down for a 4 and then a 5, then, you know, that's obviously a different situation. But yeah, the wick kind of screws it up, you know. So if we take the wick off just for a second, you could see now it looks completely different. Now it looks way more bullish, right? It looks like it's rampaging. So anyways, that's Monero. Nothing too much going on. Theta. Now, oh yeah, Monero in relation to the bull market support band. I forgot about that. So you could see just how powerful the bull market support band is, right? We had 3 down, we had 3 up, and then we flagged out for ABC. We back tested the bull market support band. We tested it, and then boom. So we are well above the bull market support band. So theoretically, Monero is more bullish than Theta and XRP at this moment. So Theta. Now, Theta's big goal, right? We haven't talked about this yet, but Theta's big goal is to get back above the bull market support band. And you can see we haven't even, I mean, that's why I was saying, like, we were so over sold that it was just insane how far away we were. We were literally like 50, 60% below the bull market support band, right? So the big goal here is to get back above that bull market support band. And it's going to be kind of tricky. It's not going to be necessarily too easy, right? So you can see what happened over here. We had a 3-wave move into the bull market support band. And that's kind of what we have here, but it looks more impulsive. It looks more bullish. So it's possible that we have a 3-wave pullback in here, a big 3-wave pullback in here, right? Before then shooting up above the bull market support band. So if you look at, if the bull market support band's kind of come in like this, right? And then we kind of shoot up and then maybe come back and retest into it. And then as it's kind of flattening out and curving back up, right? And then yeah, that would be the goal, right? So yeah, I think we're gonna have a little bit of resistance in here. So but to me, it makes more sense that we have one more wave up, because it just, okay, so when we look closely here, obviously we're tracking this wave, right? So if we look at this wave, you could theoretically say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that maybe is true. And then you have 3 down, you get 3 up, and then you get maybe 5 down, you get ABC. So that's a 1, ABC, that's a 2. And then let's get back up here, right? Let's get back up there. Or maybe this wave isn't finished yet. For example, you have 1, 2, and then you have 3. And then this is still ABC 4, right? So as opposed to having like, no, wait. So instead of this being the 5th, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's 1. And then you have 3 down, right? And there's 2. And then this is 1. And now we're flagging for 2. And then we go up. So that would be 1 of the 3rd, right? Yeah, because this structure here, now let's zoom in on this guy here. If we look at what has happened here, you got this beautiful three-wave pullback, and then you have this impulse. But then what the hell is that? You got a little bit of a crash there, a little bit of a dump. So what this could be is an impulse, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You come up in 3. Maybe you get a bigger 3, and then you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? And then it's kind of like building this sort of inverse head and shoulders or something. That's one way without that. Without that. So obviously this could be 1 and this could be 2 and then go up. Or if 2 wants to be more complex, over here and then go up, right? But here's the thing, right? We're ranging. We're at the top of this range. And we're cupping into the resistance. We're cupping into the resistance as opposed to, as opposed to cupping down, right? Cupping down. So, yeah, it still looks bullish. Let's just put it that way. And may even so, potential buy the dip, dollar cost averaging. If we look a little bit closer on the 15-minute or even the 5-minute chart, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, I don't know. I have no idea why my RSI goes to the top of the screen sometimes. It's weird. All right, so the 15-minute, look at the bullish divergence you have between the 3rd and the 5th there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got bullish divergence. So maybe this is our local low, right? Our local low, at least for a retrace. Now, where could we retrace to? I mean, it's only a 10-cent range, really, so it's not too big of a deal. But, yeah, we could come back up. If this comes back up in 3 to the 702, then, versus coming up in 5, that would be a little better. So you got point A, point B. Let's see if we get point C. Obviously, the other side to that is that this continues kind of bleeding down. And I just don't really see that. I don't see it breaking this low unless we had some kind of retrace. Unless this was the 5th wave. This could be the 5th wave here. And you know what? I think that would be a little better. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. That's 5. And 5 really didn't break the high. It was kind of truncated in a way. Okay, so if that's the case, then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be our A. And then we still shoot up for a B. And then we come down for a C. And then go up at a later time. So we'll track the wave. That's why, subscribe and keep tracking with me, and we'll figure it out. Ultimately, the goal for all of us is to make as much money as possible. And in order to do that, you got to take it seriously. So treat it as a job. Treat it as a second job. Treat it as a vehicle that could provide you with an enormous amount of wealth in the future, right? But yeah, so ultimately the goal for Theta, because we still don't know if we're going to build a base down in here, right? This could be building a base, which means you come all the way down, come all the way up. What if we have to come all the way back down, something like this, before then coming up here? That's possible, right? I don't know if this is just going to go like that, it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense if we kind of chill out in here. In relation to the bull market support band, break above, bull market support band wraps above it, maybe we come down and test it, then go up. So again, these are ideas. This is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong, right? What would be the ultimate bearish situation? Well, if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if we still have another low to go through, right? Something can hit us out of left field, maybe with the China or I mean the Russia-Ukraine stuff. I don't know. Like anything could throw it off. But what makes most sense to me is, you got a shoulder, you got a head. Let's get a little bit of a shoulder here, and then we'll see what's going. We'll see how it develops over the next couple days. So nothing too much. SHIB is actually back above the bull market support band. It's finally it closed above on a 3-day scale, and then it had this crazy doji here, and it's still in that doji is actually trading above this 3-day candle, which is a good deal. So let's zoom in here and see what the heck is going on. Yeah, Theta or SHIB seems a little bit more tight. Theta seems a little bit more stretched out, where it has to work harder to get to its goals. Where SHIB is a little bit more of a tighter situation, but you could see this. You can interpret it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, go, or same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, then go. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1. You have 3 down, right? There's 2. Then you have 1. Now we're flagging out for 2. Let's go up for 3, 4, and 5. Or the same idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 down, you get 3 up, and then you get 3 back down, then go up, or 5. So, but whatever it is, as long as it's playing in the vicinity of the bull market support band and it looks relatively bullish, it's flagging out on top and in the bull market support band, that's what you want. You can see the bull market support band is getting very tight, and it's looks like it's about to cross over. So where you have this crossing below this, and then it kind of becomes like this, right? So yeah, it still looks beautiful in my opinion, especially the larger time frames. It looks, I think it's one of the best looking meme coin charts. When you look at Pepe, for example, I don't like Pepe. I mean, obviously Pepe will probably do very, very well. But when you look at Pepe, you just have this. That's all you have. I mean, you basically have a wave that's just going up. So how do you work with that? It's kind of hard. Seems like to me that this is 1, that's 2. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 3. And then you have A, B, C, there's 4. So it looks like we're going to go up and hit 5. So yeah, it's bullish, right? But when you compare that to SHIB, you have much more structure, you have much more development, and you're building a base. It's going flat instead of going up. You're going flat. So you're building the foundation, right? So that's the charts I like to invest in. Most people don't. Most people like to chase, So if there's nothing exciting, then there's no reason to invest. But you don't want to invest in something exciting. You want to invest in something boring and grueling, with the anticipation of it turning into exciting. Because if it's already exciting, then you're too late, right? Because you have this big rally, right? You have a big dump, but then you built a complete structure, right? That was above this. You never broke below it, which was important. And then you had this like 1 2 1 2 setup, and then you had this breakout, and then you had basically 1 2 1 2, and then you had another 1, and then A B C 2, right? That's a way to look at it. And now you're kind of building support on top of your already tight base. So I'm curious to look at the Bollinger Bands on this chart and see. And then, yeah, so the expectation is, well, a big move up. So let me see. By the way, if you want the sequential indicator, you just type in trend reversal predictor. It's different. It's the same thing, but it's formatted differently. But you can always change it, modify it, you know. But yeah, but I'm gonna look at the Bollinger Bands here, and started with the weekly chart. The Bollinger Bands, you can see they're coming down, right? They're getting tighter in here, so that's a good thing. You want to get squeezed, kind of like in here where we got squeezed. A good example would be XRP. You can see how tight this was in here, right? Before we had that big breakout, it was really tight in here. So let me get rid of all that. Right? You could see when it gets real tight, that's when you get the big moves. Right? So back over here, we were talking about how tight it was getting, and basically just kind of bouncing like a pinball. And now look at it. But now look at the Bollinger Band. Look how far it went down. It went like negative. It went negative 53 cents. That's weird. But yeah, you could see it's came back up, right? And now it's kind of getting tight again. So, but yeah, for SHIB, it's similar situation. All right, what about, just give me like the daily or the 2-day. 2-day looks good. You can see we had this big move up, so now the Bollinger Bands are kind of spreading out a little bit, which is normal. So, is there any sequentials? No. Daily? No. 8-hour? Maybe. No. 4-hour? Yeah, you could see we had a 9, which consolidated the price. Then we came up, we had another 9, which pulled the price back. So, zooming in completely here. Yeah, you can see this big flat right there. See, this was a trap. And we talked about that possibility. You know, B waves are always the traps, right? But yeah, it seems like you got kind of like 1 2 3 4 5, or 1 2 or 5 ended here. And then you got this 3-wave pullback coming in here. But I don't really care about the shape too much. It looks okay. Maybe boom, boom, and then boom, something like that. So 1 2 3 4 5, 1, A, B, C, 2. I mean, that's just an idea. We'll see. Let's get rid of this. Yeah. It's kind of like Theta, you know. We are, let me put a line here, right there. So look at that. So that line represents the bull market support band, right? And you have another line here, but you could see we bounced off of it. So let's see if we can continue to hold it. That would be a nice thing. Basically, literally the same thing with NEAR. I'm not going to even talk about it. It's the same thing. Same thing. Trump, a little different. Little different. It kind of looks like it's flagging in a little bit. Maybe you get another pop here, like a 1-2, 1-2, and then maybe we go up for that third wave. I think a big move is coming to the upside. I just think we need to consolidate a little bit. But when we zoom out further, is this A, B, C? That's the question, right? Because, you know, it would be nice that would be the ABC. That would be a flat. And this is like a 1, and we're setting up for a 2, getting ready for that big move. You see the inverse there. ADA. Well, first of all, where was the bull market support band? Oh, Trump doesn't have one because it's too new of a chart. But ADA does, and ADA is back above the bull market support band. It got back above it. Now it's trying to rest and consolidate. You could say, well, it did it over here, it did it over here, and that is true. The difference, though, is that when it did it over there, it was doing it in a B or an X wave, right? So you have 3 down, you have 3 up, and then you get 3 back down. So that was a trap. W, X, and B are traps, right? These are traps. So, yeah. So we had, or actually no, it should be an ABC because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 3, 3, and 5. So it was a B wave, right? But if you look here, it looks like you got a 5-wave move working here, or a 1, 2, 1, 2 working in here. So you have all of this resistance here, you have all of this here, and that's exactly where we are for XRP with the bull market support band. So it's kind of like we need buyers to step up to the plate. We want the market to cool off a little bit, but we also want buyers to step up and maintain that price. Same thing with Litecoin. You know, I think this is a little bit elongated. It makes more sense if we kind of chill out a little bit. And that could be a couple weeks, honestly. I don't know. There's a lot of good news happening. That's a little bit concerning because, you know, if people are expecting good news, then it's kind of like sell the news event, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. So the rumor is we're going to get a trade deal with China. Maybe once that deal really flies, I mean, they've already started. Once it comes out, maybe that could be a sell the news event type of situation. But it looks a little bit gassed out. You know, you had this big 3-way pullback and then you shot right up. Here's the issue. The issue is we didn't develop a base at the bottom, right? If this would have came down and we would have developed a base and then got this big move, then this move would be more sustainable. But there's really nothing holding us here except that little leg. So, yeah, I want to see it pull back and consolidate bullishly. I don't want to see this thing get knocked down like that. No, that would be bad. I would rather it look, you know, if this can just kind of keep moving up and then, you know, flag out a little bit. That's the best thing we can do. So that's pretty much it for the whole deal. Basically everything I said, you can relate that to the other charts out there like XLM. It's back in the bull market support band. Dog's back above it. Axelar is approaching it. And then Theta is still not quite there, but Theta had a very aggressive fall. So that's why, you know, it's had a pretty nice move up, and it's right at that 99-cent level. So yeah, not too bad at all. So everything else, you know, like HBAR, You had this three-way pullback. You're kind of back up here. You could get a little bit of a consolidation before going up, or even not even that. Maybe we just kind of go sideways. That would be even better. So yeah, you can kind of see maybe we get something like that for Filecoin. You got Matic in here. So the big one is Ethereum. What's Ethereum doing? Oh, Ethereum. See, that's what the altcoins were waiting for, is Ethereum to get back above its bull market support band. Because even though we don't really care about Ethereum that much, we want it to do well because it is a significant market cap. But not only that, there's a lot of coins on Ethereum, right? Think about all the ERC20 tokens. Even Matic is part of Ethereum. So a lot of things are on the Ethereum network, even stable coins and such, right? So yeah, this is a very bullish wave back up here, very impulsive. Much more impulsive than that, or even that, really. So that's a really good sign. So, I mean, obviously we have XR or Ethereum ETFs, right? And could the Ethereum ETFs finally be kicking in? You know, like, because obviously we've been bearish for a while. I don't remember when the ETFs came out exactly, but it's been not that pleasant for Ethereum. But that's because it's in this corrective structure, right? You got 3 waves down, okay? You got 3 waves up, and then you have 3 waves back down. So this could be like a running flat here. And this wave right here is the first wave of the first wave, or the first wave, the first wave of a 5-wave move, right? So if we kind of flag out in here a little bit before continuing higher, that would make sense to me, right? So that's it. That's pretty much it. Chainlink. Chainlink's okay. I mean, it is. It's essentially the same thing. You know, you got this 5-wave move down, bullish divergence, inverse head and shoulders. You're kind of back up there. So it's kind of pausing in here for a little while. Algo looks okay. I mean, yeah, not too much to complain about. CFX looking okay. The Bitcoin dominance. This is the big boy. This is what we want to see crash and die and crumble. If Bitcoin dominance can just die and go to 1%, that would be amazing, because then we would all be rich. But seriously, you know, it's the trend is up, right? And you can see the bull market support band. It's been testing it. We haven't even made it down there yet. Bitcoin dominance is a little bit oversold. It had a pretty dramatic move down. You can see that in the RSI. I mean, it basically is a straight line down, right? But the idea here, yeah, so you would probably you got bullish divergence on Bitcoin dominance. What makes sense to me, though, is probably coming back up a little bit for a retrace, and then hopefully continuing further down, because it looks like it's finished. It looks like it's completely finished. If we zoom out, we have 5 waves in here, right? You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5. Or you can count it like 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4, 5, right? If that's all the third. So we want that first initial crash to be more aggressive than that, right? So I would maybe a little bit of a retrace, but for the most part, let's keep this thing moving back down. Theta Fuel. Theta Fuel is also on track to get back above its bull market support band, I would imagine. You can see all of these charts all have this inverse head and shoulders type of situation here. So the measured move of that would totally get us back above the bull market support band, right around there, right? And that would make sense somewhere up in here. You can see these lows right in there. So that's about almost 6 cents right there. Now, doesn't mean it's got to do it immediately. It could take a little bit of time to get there. But ultimately, I think this chart is pretty bullish here. So you guys want to see something really interesting? I know there's a bunch of Theta Fuel fans out there, including myself. Theta Fuel. You guys want to see something amazing? Ready? I've never shown this before. I was kind of waiting for it. But I have a fractal for us that looks pretty damn similar. And basically what the fractal suggests is boom! Okay? So where is that fractal? Well, it's our XRP neighbor, right? In the XRP family. And, well, there's actually two of them. There's an ADA fractal and an HBAR fractal. So here's our HBAR fractal. Let me just show you real quick here. So first of all, if we look at Theta Fuel, right? You got this move down. You got a three-wave move up. You got a three-wave move down. All right, remember that. Now, if we look at, I'm going to put them side by side in a second. But if you look at HBAR, you have a similar situation here, right? You got this move down, you got three up, and you got a move down. You can say it's 3 or 5, but the point is it's a move down, right? And then what happens? You get a massive slingshot power move to the upside. Big, beautiful power move, okay? So if we put them side by side, let's take this bull market support band off, and there we go. You can see, let me try to line it up as nice as I can here. There we go. So obviously, right, you have the big move up, right, the big move down, right? You play around a little bit, three-wave up, right? You got that big move down. But what's missing, guys? What's missing from the Theta Fuel chart? This guy right here, okay? So this adds tremendous confluence to not only Theta Fuel, but for Theta itself in our main idea, which is, right, a big, fast, violent, vicious, aggressive C wave. So you got 3 up, you got 3 down. Let's get a big power move up, similar to what happened with Theta Fuel. So our ADA, HBAR and ADA really. Now you could say, well, HBAR didn't take the low, whereas Theta Fuel did. Well, that actually, in my opinion, is better. I think Theta Fuel looks better than HBAR because the reason why is because HBAR has a beautiful 3-wave shape. This has more of like a 5. But more importantly, you took the low, which you had a big liquidity grab. So there were more liquidity could be collected down here, right? So, yeah, let's see. All right, so if how can we figure this out? Well, I'm going to do a target, and we'll see where we can get to. But first, there we go. Got a little bit color-coded for us. Pretty awesome thumbnail. By the way, if you can hit that like button, I really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and save that. Okay, so if we look at HBAR and we take a fib level from this wave here, it's a little bit weird because of that wick. I don't know if I want to use it, but let's just do this. You could see we basically went all the way up to, what is that, the 3.414. 3.414, okay. So if we put this up a little bit further, so if we use that wick, it's the 2618 to 3.414. So there gives us a little bit of a, it gives us a little bit of wiggle room. So if we take the fib level from this high, right, we come all the way down to the low, where is the 3.414? You're looking at a range, okay, so you're looking at 42.9, so basically 43 cents. That's a big number, 43 cents to 33 cents. So between 33 and 44 cents relative to the move that HBAR did. So let's take this. There we go. All right, now we can get rid of that. All right, so there you go. That's the situation here. Let's see if we can get a fast move up here and then kind of flag out, similar to what HBAR has done. Because if you look at HBAR here, all right, if you look at HBAR, what did it do? Obviously it shot up and then it flagged out. So if we can shoot up and flag out, I mean, that would make all the difference in the world here, right? So let's see how it plays. But anyways, that should do it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you can hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.